welcome back. We have already logged in to our Azure virtual machine. We have already started up our pfSense. Our Windows server is also started up. It's behind our firewall, and then we have a OpenVAS running that is ready to do some scanning. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about firewall rules. So let me go into this Windows server. And here is where we will connect back to our pfSense firewall. It's kind of fun how all this stuff just runs on a web server, huh? That looks like it didn't really need to do anything. Our server manager here starts up. You may recall that our Windows server is actually running a fair amount of services. We have like a Windows file share going. We have a web server going. And we're allowing pings is what we were already doing. So let me just open up over here. So here is my Windows server running. I'm just going to slip that over to here. I'm going to open Microsoft Edge here on my Azure machine. And just do some quick little stuff to see what's running and what's not. So double check that the Windows server is running. I'm just going to do a regular web connection there. We are going to run a ping here. So I'm going to run a CMD. Oh, there it goes again. I hate it when I do that. All right, do that there. So I'm going to ping 92.168.1.2. That's happily replying here. We'll kind of put this stuff in various places. Open the file manager because we also have file sharing running. So here, if I want to connect to a share, I can right click on network. I can map network drive. This is all things that are set up. Let me make sure which I'm doing on my keyboard here. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm just going to see, just making sure it should work. Okay, when you get this come up, that means you're okay. I'm not going to connect to it though. So I'm going to cancel this. We're just going to cancel this. Well, we might just leave that open. All right, cool. Well, this is fun. All right, now we're going back. Now we're on the our server. This is our Windows server. I'm going to pop this open in my Firefox, and I'm going to connect to my pfSense web configurator. So we'll give this a second to warm up. Looks like things are running well today. I like that. All right, we're going to pfSense, which is going to be at 192.168.1.1. It's been a little while since we've been there. And this should connect us in to pfSense. And just so you remember here, this is the IP address, 192.168.1.1. That's on the LAN side. If I've somehow change the password, I can do this option number 3, reset web configurator password. And I think that's the best, or all we need to know right now. So that's good. All right, let me scoot this back up. I need to look at the other thing. Hopefully have a nice password here that we still remember. So I've been using more or less the same password the whole time. We haven't been in here for a while, and like I said, you could reset the password from the console to the administrator default. All right, here we are. So this is pfSense. Main menu. We were interested in firewall a very long time ago when we very first set this up. We set up a firewall rule that would allow all traffic. And that's right here on the WAN. Now what I can do here is I can delete it or disable it. Now, since this is the allow all rule, I would normally not have this sort of rule anywhere near my firewall, honestly, because you should not be allowing all by default. One of the things about a firewall is it goes through the rules in order. So we're going to add some rules and they will go in order, and as we get more rules, I'll talk about that again. But one of the issues here is having this rule sort of wandering around is just a bad idea. So this is a horrible security idea anyway, so I'm actually just going to delete this right now. So I'm going to hit the trash button, and I'm going to delete it. So delete the rule, and what should happen then, after we apply changes, because that has to happen in order for a rule, this will mean, like it says here, all incoming connections on this interface will be blocked until past rules are added. And this is great because we want to stop sort of all the bad things happening. So right now there's one there, that's a ping that's not going to work. I'm going to open up my web browser. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so it's not taking up the whole screen. If I go to here again, if I just hit refresh, it will time out. If I go to a map network drive and I hit finish, this should also time out, and that doesn't, I don't like that. Let me just try this again, because it may be sort of not remembering yet. Let me go back to here. I'm going to right click again, map network drive, do my connection here. This should shut everything down. Okay. And that should time out too. So the ping timed out, this is timed out, and this, oops, wherever that is, will time out. Let me get that window back open. This will time out eventually. All right, so that's cool. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm actually going to re-enable those. So if I were a student that needed to find this out, I can just do a web search. And if, for example, I want to enable an access, I can just do something like here, firewall, rule, enable, oops, so I can spell something right here, enable web, and we'll just put web access. Okay, file rule, enable web access, and what I need to find out is the port number. Now I am not into these AI overviews because this is like the worst kind of idea. That's fine. I mean, that is right, by the way. And I hate to see it in there because they should just give me a one website only. Let's go. No, I hate trying to act like you should have just ignored the. Let me open this one up. I mean, I know how to do it, and it is right there. So I need the port numbers. Oh, that's funny. All right, we'll just leave that alone. All right, we'll just go with the AI overview. So it is true. HTTP is on port 80. HTTPS is on port 443. You would also remember this if you were the person who had set up this server to use HTTPS, because you would have seen that the bindings are to port 80 and port 443. So what does that mean? That means in our firewall, I need to add rules. You might as well add 2 rules. I'm going to add a rule. We're just going to add a rule to the top of the list for now. The action here is going to be pass. So this means we're allowing traffic. We're going to contrast that with a block, which is a rule that will not let it pass. And a reject is a rule that will send a reject packet. So a reject rule will immediately send you shall not pass rule. And we'll worry about that one in a minute. All right, so there's pass. In here, it doesn't say, which I don't like, is I guess why we're not happy with this. Let me see if this one does anything. Anyway, okay. What we need to know is what is the protocol also. My goodness, go back here. Now suddenly my keyboard or something is locked up. Escape here. Escape over here. Come on, give me this keyboard back. Now it wants me to switch my keyboard to German. And it just refuses to do this. Come on. All right, we're going to sit for a minute then. We are able to get around here. I'm getting annoyed. Everything was working well. Disk encounter, oh great. All right, here's a problem. See how it says disk encountered critical I/O errors? This is because I'm out of disk space. Let me go back over here. If we hit this PC, you can see here we're pretty much no space free. Now, the problem is we actually need to free up more disk space, and so we need the OpenVAS running, and that's taking up space. For a later exercise, we're going to need the Kali again, and for now, what we're going to do is we're going to delete the backup VM disk. Okay, and this is actually okay to hear. Let me just do this here. I'll show you here. I can go into settings here. I don't know if I'm very happy about doing this. I'm going to remove that disk. It's this disk right here. Hit hard drive, the server backups. I'm going to hit remove. Let's see if it does it okay. Sometimes it has a screaming fit when you try to do this. Okay, now what we need to do is go into, this is where it gets really dicey. We're going to find that disk. It's in Program Data, Microsoft, Windows, Virtual Hard Disks, and Server Backups. This is where when you delete something and you think, oh my goodness, this might cause really serious problems, but I'm still going to delete it. I'm going to say yes. And we're happy now, hopefully, that we have a good amount more space free. What's going to happen here is, just because I did this, I'm actually just going to go ahead and restart this. I probably should have shut this down first. So we're just going to hit stop. I'm going to turn it off. What does that do? No, we don't need to save it. I'm going to turn it off. And just basically, this is a hard restart. And what a mean thing to do to this poor server, but we're going to start it back up now. And we should be able to just connect back in. This is usually what happens when it's not happy that you stopped. Hit enter here. It's going to start up. And so there you go. Like, that's what happens when you run out of space. I wish this would just stop doing that, but that's what it does. All right, we're going to log in. We don't need that anymore. Server manager is going to start up, but we really actually just need to be in here. I'm going to wait just a second for the services to sort of start. There we go. IIS is started. There's actually a MariaDB on here too, but that's okay. All right, I clicked on Firefox, so we're going to fire that one up. I'm going to have to reconnect. Oh, that's fun. It's restoring my thing. Oh, I sort of remembered where I was. Well, that's good, maybe. All right, I'm going to cancel this, that it started up. So I'm just going to go back to firewall rules. We're going to redo this again. So again, no rules we're doing. So we're back to here. Hopefully we have enough disk space. I'm going to add a rule to the top of the list. Like I said, it's going to be pass. We need to know the protocol, and I can tell you right now that the protocol for web is TCP. The source is going to be, we're going to allow anyone to connect. So it's basically people from the internet. This is the source people. Like, where are they coming in? We're going to allow anyone to come in, but the destination, we're going to specifically say which server. So we're going to pick address or alias here, and the address is 192.168.1.2. Hopefully you can see things here, like I could do an entire network. There's various other things here, but we're going to leave it for now for a specific address. So this is going to allow web traffic to a specific address. The port range is what we need to deal with. Now, let me note here, we have over here that the ports are 80 and 443. The incorrect thing to do is do a port range and try to include all those ports. Just do one port at a time. So I'm going to hit 80 here, and I'm going to go from 80 to 80, and I'm just going to have a separate rule for port 80 and a separate rule for port 443. All right, so there's my port 80 rule. I'm going to apply changes. This is allowing port 80. So now if I go here for port 80, which is this one, because it doesn't have HTTPS on it, if I hit enter now, that works. So this is Russell Haynes' web server. What does not work is if I put in, let me do this in a new tab, if I do it via HTTPS, I'm just going to slip the HTTPS in there, and this will time out. So it's going to take a little while. But we're not going to worry about that because we're actually going to fix that in just a second. All right, port 80 and 443 are what we need. I'm going to put in a new rule. If I put the rule to the top of the list, that's fine. This rule, by the way, at the very top always sort of has precedence. The next rule would go in between that. If I added it to the bottom, it would go at the bottom. Now, the order does matter. So if I like to see like port 80 first, meaning the firewall, if it finds that it's going to port 80, it does that, and then it stops processing. Once traffic meets a rule, the firewall stops processing it, and it goes in the order that's in the deck, basically. So sometimes you'll want to have like maybe the most common traffic is port 80, and so you might push that up because that in a way helps you just a very tiny slice that you're not going to be, your firewall is not going to be processing so much. But this is really, it's a really like more than you need to worry about at this point, at least anyway. So here we are again. This is 443. This is also going to be traffic TCP. The destination, I'm also going to do the same way of just a specific server, and you want to do this if you can, especially for your allow rules. You want to have a specific rule. By the way, if I know it's 443, I could just type that in, but there it is here, HTTPS. It's actually kind of obnoxious that they go in order alphabetically, but not by port number, but that's whoever pfSense is, I don't know, write to your congressman, right? Your congressman. All right, I'm going to save that. I'm going to apply changes. And once I'm allowing, by the way, the little green check mark, and I need that to move. The allow rule means this, or the green check means it's an allow rule. What that means here is if I hit refresh, I'm going to get 443, and here's my certificate error. I actually think Edge doesn't even like the certificate, so I'm not going to go any further. Note over here, I'm still not pinging, and if I checked again over here on my file sharing, that would also not work. So the next ones are more obscure, so you don't expect a lot of ping traffic, so I'm going to use ping here. Let's quickly do a firewall rule, and we're going to go enable. What we want here is an incoming ping. And there's my thing there. Yeah, that's right. Shoot, it's kind of feel like the AI thing has made, like they screwed up the, like they don't give you good results anymore. Because it's pretty funny that like this is obviously what I wanted, but these aren't the thing. But okay. All right, here's what we need to do. We need a, oh, that is in the Windows firewall. We need an ICMP. That's the protocol for ping. So I'm going to change it up here to ICMP. And the cool thing about that is once you switch to ICMP, it gives you ICMP subtypes. We want the echo request, which is an incoming ping. So this is someone asking for a ping to reply. By default, on a pfSense, it will allow the reply. So if you allow the incoming traffic, it will allow the reply traffic. This is what's known as a stateful firewall. And a very old school way from back in the day is you had to also allow the echo reply, and then there would be port numbers for that, but we aren't going to deal with that either. We're going to do the same thing here. I only want them pinging a specific place. So I'm going to put my 192.168.1.2, and I'm going to save that one. And now we have echo requests. I'm going to apply that change. I'm going to go over here, and this should work now. Boom. That's pretty awesome. And then we're going to add another rule, and this one is also going to go to the bottom. And we're going to enable incoming, we'll call it file sharing. All right, and of course it's going to do it here. No, that didn't actually help. Let's see here, firewall rule. We'll put port on here. Hopefully it'll go. We need the port number. I know the port number, but we're trying to find it. And it's right there. Shoot. That might be this one. We'll open. Oops. File and printer share port should be open. That looks good. Let's see. This modern stuff here, huh? Where's the port number? Oh, there it is right here. You only need this 445, by the way. So we're going to do 445 here. We're going to pass. It's TCP. Does it say here? Oh, that's really funny. They're just assuming you know it's TCP. All right. So the destination here is again going to be address 192.168.1.2. And the destination port range is that 445. Now it's on this list here. Where is it? This is why I'm annoyed that it's not in in port order. There it is right there, MSDS. That's the one you want. I'm going to save that one and apply this change. And what that means here is that I'm going to be able to do file sharing. So now if I right click on my network, you've watched me before, you already know this is just my habit. 192.168.1.2. Oops. The backslash of CIS, because that's the name of the share. Doing some different credentials. We're going to finish. And we're asking for credentials. By the way, if you've forgotten, I think we had Jane Doe. If you've forgotten the names, you can just do administrator, because that's the same password that you used to log on to the Windows machine. Because that's what I'm going to do. I know the password, but I don't remember the usernames. It should map just fine. Let's give it a minute here. It's not in a good mood, is it? Come on. Try it again. There it is. Okay, and that's what we had. Admin created this, John created this. Everybody's happy. Funny that that's going to appear in both places. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to right click and I'm going to say disconnect. And I don't need to worry about that. And I'm going to actually, let's just remove this access. That's fine. All right, so that works. We're great. Now, why do I have the OpenVAS open? And that's because we want to, I'm going to do a vulnerability scan just for kicks right now at, let's do another tab here, 10.1.0.102. So we can sign in here, and if you remember, this had a different password. All right, so we're in here. We already did a scan. That was what I did last time. I'm going to go back to scans tasks. Now, if I want to really keep track of what's going on, I'm going to do a new scan, and I am actually going to do it here. So we're just going to do a new task, and it's because what I really would, I'd be better off as an administrator using the same scan. So if I was really doing it the way like a good administrator would do it, that I would just run that scan again. But since I'm doing this for an assignment, I'm going to do a scan, and I'll just call this scan when serve with, and we'll put here I'll just call it 4 rules, because that's what I have right now. I have 4 rules, and that's the one that's going to run. The target is still here, it's Windows Server. Let me just say here, I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to start the scan here. Scan Windows Server, it's a new one, and I'm going to start this, and it's still going to take a while. So I think last time it took 10 minutes, and that's normal. I'm just going to note here, if I go into Assets, Hosts, this is where the Windows Server actually appears. So it's in here, it's this 192.168.1.2. If I need to edit it here, I'm actually surprised I don't have that in here. Assets, probably had to do configuration. Oh, there it is, sorry. Configuration targets is where I need to be, that's right. Assets is a different thing. All right, configuration target, there's my Windows Server. If I want to edit this, I hit edit target, and I'm telling you this because Later, you're actually going to disable the pings. In the alive test, you have to assume alive. There's right here, consider alive, and you're going to have to switch it to that. Now, I'm not going to show you this because if you're one of my students, you have like some more like locking down of the server to do. So I'm actually just more or less going to stop this in just a minute after we do some other things. But again, if it's not allowing pings, you have to say consider alive because the scan config default is a ping. So I'm going to hit cancel here. It's enabled pings because I did it right here. And if the Azure thing can ping it, it should be able to be pingable from this Greenbone thing. And so we're very excited now. And we're going to watch it for a minute on the scans task thing. It's going to do it 0%. While it's doing the scan, I'm going to go back over here. Well, actually, let me let it finish the scan. And just like last time, there's going to be a gap where I'm going to stop basically right now, and then I'll start up when the scan is finished. So see you in a bit. All right, we're back. That took a nice amount of time. That's great. I'm going to show you, we got two reports now. One is the one we did just a little while ago. And it was for everything open. And the next one we just did was the one with only those 4 specifically open. Now, the results aren't much different. So results 5 of 49, CVEs, this looks good. If we go over here, it's a few less results. And what we're going to show here, let's go to the results. We need to take off the filter. Let me do that for both though, just show you really quickly. Here we go. 443, 443, 443, general TCP. And over here you can see we basically blocked this port, and so this one doesn't appear anymore. I can look more deeply here at all of the ports, but a lot of this stuff will still be there. Let's see if we go through. This is the all open. Any of these 135s, these 5895, like those are going to be not on the list anymore. There's a lot of 443s in here, that's fine. So the ones that are, there's that one's going to be gone, that'll be gone, that'll be gone. So yeah, there's a little bit in here that's going to be gone, and that's the idea here. If I undo this filter, and we can, I don't know, go through it. And you'll see here, right, we have just general stuff, and then it's only 443 and 80 and 445. So there it is right there. It's funny that 139 is basically SMB, but it doesn't have the same vulnerabilities, so kind of weird. Okay, so that, I guess it's not that weird. All right, we're actually done with Greenbone now, or for purposes of this video. If you're one of my students, you're still going to run one more scan because you're really going to lock it down a little more. But the people on the internet and my students are going to do that on their own, so my students need to deal with that themselves. What I'm going to show you now is on pfSense. I'm going to center this a little more. We are going to deal with a couple of rules just showing you how to deal with outgoing traffic. So let's hit some, this is on the LAN side. We can see here there's one main rule. This rule is always on top. This is the anti-lockout rule, and that means that you can access the web configurator. So it's basically allowing anyone from the LAN side to come out. Notice down here we have default allow LAN to any rule for IPv4. So it says IPv4 there, and it says IPv6 there. Because this default rule is there, any of our denies need to be above it. So we're going to do some deny rules, just one or two, because we can. Let's do something really quickly on just, let me just show you how to do this. We're going to go to the command prompt, and we're going to do just a couple of lookups here. So I'm going to go to command, CMD, and enter. And here we're going to do a thing called NS lookup. name service lookup. And this is how we look up basically the IP address of any server we want. So I'm at app state, and I can put in here like www.app, .app. My goodness, .app state.edu. All right, there's the IP address of it. There's IPv6, and then there's two IPv4 addresses. And what happens here is, this is from the LAN side. If I go here to www.appstate.edu, and I can look at AppState's website, and that's very exciting. All right, so what we're going to do though is we're going to look back here. We're going to mentally note what these ones were. Actually, we can just copy them. One was 8.8 and one is 9. I'm going to select that. I'm hitting right click. I should be hitting select. Why is it not selecting? All right, I need 104.18.8.161. I'm going to add a rule here. We're going to add it to the top because it needs to block. We're going to hit block first. Interface is going to be LAN. It's still going to be TCP. And we're basically, if you want to block any, I would just actually do any. This will block any stuff to that address. So we need the destination. So now the source is people on my side, so it's any source. I do want a particular destination. So actually here I can type in www.appstate.edu. I can hit save. And it doesn't like that. What we're going to do is actually put in, did I put that wrong? We're just going to put in the IP address. I don't remember why it doesn't like the name. 104.18.8.161. Okay, back here. So we're going to do this 104.18.8.61. Just going to check that I got it right. 104.18.8.161. And we're going to save that. And we're going to apply changes. Oops, I've hit not. That was a mistake. You see how it says right there, not? That little exclamation mark means I screwed it up. That's this invert match. I accidentally checked that box. And you don't want that checked. So we're going to hit save. And now it's anything going to that. We're going to hit apply changes. This only applies here. So let's see, one of the issues is, since it had two IP addresses, if I refresh that, it actually will not work. Because it looks like it's using the other address. Let me duplicate this rule. And we're going to double check that it was 8, and then it's .9.161. I'm going to go here, I duplicated the rule, and let's just see if we can get it to block well. One of the issues is it's 9.61, right? 161. Oh my goodness. I'm going to get both here. I'm going to hit save to change the other one because I did it wrong. Notice I'm doing this before I hit apply changes because I can apply changes in a minute. So I'm going to hit save, apply changes. Now that would also be why it didn't fully work. All right, one of the issues here is that I have all this data stored in my cache. Let me just double check if I can delete all my history. Let's go to, is that gonna work here? No, I don't want history. I want my saved data. Let me go to settings here. This is actually a bit of a hassle. I'm going to privacy and security. I'm going to scroll down here and I want to clear the data. So here it's stored cookie, site data, and cache. I'm going to clear this. If I was being more clever, I would actually just hit manage data, but I'm just going to clear it all. I'm going to clear everything. This is, okay, we're going to click, might as well clear that too. And that looks good there. I'm going to hit clear. And this should make it so we don't see anything. This, by the way, for my students' purposes, you're better off showing that the website was blocked before you show it's allowed, because otherwise you have to delete. If it's already in the cache, it's going to be in the cache. In fact, let me show you this. Let's look up one So this is the Dr. Haynes web server. I'm going to go into here. Let's NS lookup drhws.net. And that's this one, 216.92.30.104. So we're going to make either that timeout. It's still, do you see how it's still running the clock? And it's just not as dramatic. So I'm going to block this first. Let's add a rule. And by the way, let me just show you. I'm going to add one to the bottom. Oh, we need to sign in. We're going to have to sign it back in because we cleared all our data, which is what we wanted to do. But like I said, in the end, it's kind of not what you want to do. Let's go back to rules. Cleared all of that stuff. We're going to the LAN side. I'm just going to, do I want to show you? We'll do that one in a minute. I'm going to add one to the bottom and just kind of, hopefully it doesn't do, let me do this time we'll do a reject. Reject is kind of fun. Reject gives you an instant block. So here you can see it's still clock, like it's waiting to time out, and it takes a long time. Reject will do it right away. So protocol, we're going to do a destination, and we're going to do a particular address or alias. I'm going to double check the address again. 216.92.30.104. This is when you test my memory, 216. I'm just making this up because it's probably not right. 216.92.30.104. Oops. What did I do? That's annoying. Oops. Keep hitting buttons, don't I? Block traffic. By the way, since I'm blocking traffic, I might as well do protocol any. This is where you would say 216.92, and y'all that are on the internet are going to keep making fun of me because I 30.104. 30.104. I'm going to double check this because I want to be sure it blocked. 216.92.30.104. Looks good. Scroll down. Oops. Quit checking boxes. I'm going to hit save. And so notice here it's at the bottom. This one, by the way, means that you're going to hit like it's not going to be hit. And in fact, I'm going to show you that with this app state one. If I need to move it up, I basically go in here and I say, where do I say here? I think I can just click on these and drag them. Yeah, I need to drag it up. And I actually need to apply changes. So we need to see what happens here. I should move that up. Oh, I didn't move it up. Come on, move up. I hit save here. Maybe I hit save first, and then I hit apply changes. All right, so I need to have, like I said, this needs to be above these other ones. And now up here, since I'm showing you like my students, I'm going to go drhws.net, and I will remind my students right now that this is not the website you were instructed to block, but it happens to share the IP address. Oops. Well, that's no good. It's supposed to block it. 216. Oh, reminded me I'm forgetting to do all my stuff. Notice I put an allow rule here. All right, let me change that back. I'm going to change this back to reject. Like I said, this is a little more dramatic. This is a little annoying. I'm going to do, luckily, Dr. Haynes has a lot of web pages that actually share that same IP address. So we're going to go to one called superiorschedules.com. And that should be blocked immediately. So this is blocked. Can't connect to the server. That's what happens when you have a reject. Let me change this quickly back. Isn't that cute, that little hand? I'm going to change this back to a block just to show you what the difference is. So again, reject goes instantly. And in a way, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's really a reason, but now if we hit try again, it's going to take, it's supposed to take a little while and block it. That's funny. Let me try a different one. That's funny, this one probably, let me just refresh it. Oh, there we go. So you can see this is doing the clock. Oh, yeah, that's pretty fun. Yeah, that was exciting. So if I wanted to show my teacher, like, hey, I blocked this effectively, I would do this. Then you could actually do a thing like disable the rule, hit apply changes, and then when I refresh, it should load it. Oops, why is this somehow in a bad mood with me? Oops, haha. Look at me acting like I'm not doing the right thing. Why is that not working? It's funny, this is maybe... When we're not loading that page, I should be able to find it. Let me change back to HTTP. We'll just see if that's... It's funny that those superior schedule, what is that? Is that my correct site? Now I'm questioning myself if I have the right IP address here. SuperiorSchedules.com. Let's try Superior Schedule. Maybe it's that. Oh, there it is. Haha. That's the one I'm supposed to be doing. SuperiorSchedule.com. I need to steal that IP address now. Superior Schedule. Let me fix this. This is how I'm not doing. Let me re-enable this rule. What's this check mark? And apply changes. And then we're going to do it. Thank goodness, SuperiorSchedule.com. Should get a nice block there. This one should also give me a nice block. It actually shouldn't be in an HTTP. Oh, it is HTTPS. Actually redirects to HTTP. Okay. This is looking better. So that's what it's supposed to do, these little blocks. And let's do a reject real quick. It helps if I get the page addresses right, doesn't it? Just SuperiorSchedule.com. Enter there. It should be. This one should give us a quick block, right? What's the matter with this thing? That one just found it. Oh, there it goes. HTTP. It's funny that, oops, I was terrible at this. Wrong button. Okay. It should give us the immediate reject. HTTPS.net, that looks good there. Let me just show you this trick. So remember we were doing the trick of what happens if this is at the bottom of the list. I'm going to save that at the bottom. I'm going to apply changes. And what happens here is even though it's under block, and you've already seen that it said unable to connect, if I connect now, it's just going to connect just fine. Okay, so these things aren't good necessarily. Just it's funny how the web just doesn't work like it used to. All right, so that's how it works there. appstate.edu is still not responding. Let's make it, it's just for grins here. I'm going to disable the rule. And we'll disable both of them because we had those two IP addresses, remember? By the way, just having you notice here, there's two IP addresses for that appstate.edu. And this is the reason why when you're going to block a website, a fair amount of the time it's really hard to block a website. And so what you can do is, for example here, if I don't want to do if I don't want to block multiple IP addresses, let me just show you one here. If I'm doing a popular website, let's just do CNN.com. Let's see if they have a bunch of IP addresses. Yeah, see there's a bunch of IP addresses here. So if I want to stop people from getting to CNN, the typical, oops, I keep clicking rules here. The typical way to do it actually is to block it based on the DNS. Let me just show you how to do that. We already have a DNS services running here. So if I'm going to go to services, DNS Resolver, this is where I can actually do a trick. It's just a trick. If I do a domain override, so I can click add on domain override and I can do cnn.com. And what I can do here is, So it says IP address of the authoritative DNS server for this domain. If I put in the loopback address, basically what that does is it tells the person to like try to use their own computer to look this up, and if they don't have a DNS server on their computer, it will fail. Sometimes people will do it to a particular IP address, but this is kind of the quicker way to do it. I'm going to hit apply changes here, and again it's going to have added this. What are we doing here? Why isn't it applying changes? Oh, it's still thinking. All right, there we go. I'm scrolling back down here. It's added cnn.com. Let me just note here, it's possible to do the same thing with a host override. This is actually not a good way to block web pages. One of them being Firefox, for example, doesn't use DNS to look up names. So if I just go to cnn.com, like Firefox is just going to load it. And it's because it looks up the IP address on its own, like basically using its own DNS. And it's for privacy reasons. So, you know, Firefox is all about privacy. Let me just show you here. I'm going to go into Internet Explorer. And if it's going to take a minute, that's okay. Yeah, now it's thinking. That's what I get for clicking on stuff, huh? There's not that much memory available here. It's funny, I have so much going on that even having this running is not good for my like amount of space I have. I'm going to close some tabs just because I want to get this stuff moving again. So I think we're kind of done with Firefox. Well, not Firefox for now. We're done using it as the way to block stuff. Let me just show you here. If I go to cnn.com here, of course we have all this issues of, let me put www, that's fine. If I hit, I still have to hit this add business, and add, what is going on here? So it's edited this zone. Let me just, I'm unclicking that button and hitting add and hitting close. All right, what happens here is it says here, look for the page in your search engine. And the issue is, this is where it's trying to look stuff up. So let me show, what can I show here? Let's see, which one we want to do. We overrode the whole of CNN. I guess I can just show you how I take it off. If I go back here and I just trash this, I'm going to trash it, and then I'm going to apply the changes. Because Internet Explorer does use the DNS settings. Now if I hit refresh here, it should look it up just fine. But I still, now I have to add again. Notice here I'm adding cnn.com. I'm going to add there. And this is really obnoxious. I'm going to hit close here. Close here. And so I just, all I want is, like you can see now, CNN did load. So we're good here. Again, this is the idea of one way to block an entire domain is to use a DNS override. And again, I would use it for, like, if I'm doing YouTube, I'm going to block youtube.com, and I would also look up alternative addresses. Like there might be a cnn.co, or, you know, they have various aliases like URL shorteners that might let people get around it. So just be careful there. Now, we are good here. This is fine. I want to leave in there anyway. I'm going to close out of Internet Explorer because I don't need it, because hopefully you get the idea there. Again, we're just back on the firewall. I'm just going to briefly note here. We have some rules here for the firewall. If I was one of my students and I needed to demonstrate something, you would basically be disabling and or removing or deleting these allow rules. And then on the LAN side, just remember here, a rule that's at the bottom of the list isn't like the rules above it get applied first. And so, you know, having this block rule at the bottom of the list means it's not going to block because there's allow rules above it. So make sure you do that. So I guess I might as well act like I'm going to do something here and make sure this is in the right order. And it is normal, by the way, to have the default allow LAN to any rule because your users want it. Right, hopefully that gives you a good idea of how to use pfSense to sort of manage external access to your network and internal access to your network. Hope you enjoyed the video.